Fostering is a program designed to get animals out of the shelter that are either too young for surgery, injured, um, sick for whatever reason, and then they go into a home where they recover or they get bigger, and then once they're at that stage, then the foster parent brings them back to the shelter for adoptions or surgery or whatever placement is next for the animal. Every time a kitten is sitting there, they're exposed to getting a disease. So the sooner we can get them out of there and into the hands of a caring foster parent, that is what's best. A lot of them need help eating through the middle of the night, or some of them need physical therapy when they're injured. And the shelter staff, we just don't have time for that. So that's where the foster parents care for them. I started taking over the foster program in 2000. They had a foster program prior to me, but it was very, very small. And then we just kind of took it to a new level when I got there.
No matter what, we're a no-kill shelter, and so they're put in foster homes until they're adopted. They usually put animals with medical issues in foster program for the first amount until it's more of an exam period, so they can see how much they need attention through their life. There is FIV, which means feline immunity virus, which means they're just like kittens, they have a weak immune system. And then there's FELV, which is feline leukemia. And hyperthyroid means that they just can't keep weight on, but mostly they're just put in foster care or in the cages till they're adopted. Sometimes cats are there for a long period of time, and we don't want them in the cages for longer than a couple months. If they're there for longer than a couple months, the cats that are in the adoption building can go into foster homes to get out of the cage. Some people either adopt them out from their homes, or they can bring them back to the shelter, and that's where they're put until they're adopted. Sometimes when the older cats are put in foster care, you can see what their real personality is like. Instead, usually in a cage, they can be scared and terrified. Once you bring them into a home, they could be loving and affectionate.
We've been fostering for about a year and a half. One day I visited the shelter there and saw that they offered an orientation to become a foster parent. And I thought that would be something interesting to do, so I filled out the paperwork to get that started. We have fostered kittens and adult cats as well as sick cats. The youngest kittens we've had were 3 days old, but unfortunately they did not survive. We foster cats with FIV, and we foster cats with neurological conditions. We foster any type of cat regardless of what their needs may be. Some might need special diets, some might need medication, some need more medical vet visits than the normal. You just do what you need to do to give them a happy life. I always hated to see them in the cages at the shelter, and I thought it would be, nice to be able to bring them home and let them live in a home environment. We were fostering a little month-and-a-half-old little boy kitten. His name is Sebastian, and he's a little ball of energy. Taking care of the kittens and cats, it depends on their age. Some kittens that are infants, we have to actually teach them how to use the litter box. Some of them are bottle fed, some eat on their own. Basically, you have to be their mom and give them, the love and the guidance that they need to be able to grow up. The difference between fostering kittens and older cats, the kittens are very rambunctious and have a lot of energy, and the older cats have a tendency to be more calm with occasional spurts of energy, but they are more content to lay there and just be comfortable by themselves. On our part, there's really no financial unless we want to buy them special toys. The shelter does give everything that you need to do the care, give the care for the cat. They do the vet visits. They provide the litter, the litter box, the food, the medications if they need, toys, blankets, anything that you could think of. The shelter provides for these foster animals. We have an almost 5-year-old cat named Tipper. He's the typical adult cat. He just likes to lay around and with the occasional spurts of energy. And he likes to sit on your lap and be pet. Our little foster he loves him. He follows him around. He tries to jump on his tail and tries to play with him. You know, sometimes Tipper will play with him, and other times Tipper will just like go away, or he'll make him go away, like pushing him away. But they get along pretty well.
So when we do an intake exam, what we're just basically looking is kind of the overall health of the kitty. And so what we start with is we always start with a weight, just to make sure that they're gaining weight and they're getting enough to eat and all that good stuff. And this little guy is definitely gaining weight. And then typically we just kind of start at the head and we look in their ears, make sure there's nothing in the ears. And these look really good. And then we look at their cute little faces to make sure their eyes and nose are clear. And then we kind of always check their teeth. And then we're kind of checking for, this guy is really young, so we're not that worried about it. But in older kitties, we worry about tartar and gingivitis and decay and missing teeth and stuff like that. So that's kind of what we're looking for and checking to see if there's any sores or anything we need to worry about. And of course, he looks great because he's so young. And then we kind of check the whole body over and make sure that there's no missing hair or anything like that that we need to be concerned about. And then we have to check their rear end. And especially for adult kitties, we check to make sure if they're male, if they're female. So if they're a female kitty, we'll go ahead and, not obviously in a kitten, but on an older kitty, we'll shave the belly and check for a space scar. And on these, we always check the rear end just to make sure there aren't any nasty worms or something back there. And then we listen to their heart. And that way we're listening for heart murmurs and things like that. And again, on a kitten this age, don't expect to find anything. And he sounds great. And that's what we do for an exam.
I wish I could keep them all, but I know I'm getting them ready to go to a good home, and that helps.